we see it from here.
What?
Home.
Hello there, I'm Bob West, and this is Studio 7 on YouTube West. And today, I'd like to talk to you about a 2017 movie that just released in theaters on Thursday. It's called Dunkirk. This is the story of the evacuation of British Allied personnel prior to America's entrance into the war. Germany had basically bounced the Allied Expeditionary Forces in 1940 back to the sea at the beaches of Dunkirk. That was Hitler's plan all along, was to push the forces back, trap them there, and annihilate them, or capture them. And what's amazing about the story is that the British themselves were able to recover 350,000 of their soldiers, including French soldiers. And they did this by using small boats. And in every story up to this point that tells a story about Dunkirk, they focus a little bit on the small boats, a little bit on the holding that was done on the edges, but they don't really focus on the intensity of the story itself. And Christopher Nolan, who directed this version, which stars Fionn Whitehead, Glynn-Carney, Jack Lowden, Harry Styles from One Direction, James D'Arcy from The Tudors, Kenneth Branagh, who's done a number of things, and Tom Hardy as a British RAF fighter pilot. Christopher Nolan does an excellent job. Now everybody says, well, of course he does, because he did The Dark Knight, and he did the Dark Knight trilogy, and he's done a couple other movies. Let me tell you something about how I feel about The Dark Knight. I think it's probably the worst Batman movie ever made of the Batman series. I think that Heath Ledger's pilled up, drunken, homoerotic portrayal of the Joker was disgusting and deviant and unnecessary, and probably the worst performance I've ever seen. That being said, I went into Dunkirk with an absolute open mind, ready to be blown away, and I was. I was blown away. I saw it on 70mm at IMAX. This is a 7 out of 7 World War II drama. Of that, there is no doubt. What makes it a great movie is that it tells the story of the feelings it involves. It tells the story of the terror involved without being bloody, overdone, without being showboaty, without overacting. And that's actually critical in this movie because it's done with less acting. There isn't a lot of it. There aren't a lot of line exchanges. There aren't a lot of scenes where actors are required to fulfill certain things. There's so much going on. And it's done in multiple timelines that all sew up at the end that you find yourself wandering a little bit, but you don't mind because by the time you get there, it's done. Now, am I trying to give away the plot? No. It's hard when you talk about a biographical drama that focuses around an event like this in history, the likes of which no one had ever seen, to not tell the story within the movie without telling the movie by accident. The performances, though, are incredible for what they are. The scenery is well done. The location shooting is excellent. The ability of Christopher Nolan to get the point across is unique. Hans Zimmer's soundtrack is wonderful. The whole thing comes together, pulls together, and is well worth seeing. If there was one drawback, it's the beginning disjointed, I don't know how to put it, disjointed nature, the disjointed nature of the stories as they begin, the way they're introduced, and then as they move forward. It isn't till, well, you'll find out when you go see it, because you'll have to go see it, because no matter what I tell you, no matter what anybody else tells you, and they will tell you too much, they'll rave about Harry Styles, they'll rave about Tom Hardy, they'll rave about Christopher Nolan. I don't think any of them needs to be raved about at all. I just think it's so well put together and so good that if you're a war movie aficionado, you should see it. If you're trying to understand the human spirit at its darkest hour, this is one of the best examples of how to do it. Dunkirk 2017 in your theaters now. Go see it. For Studio 7, I am Bob West on YouTube West. Thank you very much.